Welcome to the Family Dynasty podcast, where legacy meets leadership. I'm your host, Matt Dewing, family guide, business advisor, and believer in generational purpose. Our aim is to inspire and equip you to lead your family so that together you will experience compounding wealth in all 7 capitals through the generations. Each week we uncover timeless wisdom, cultural dynamics, and practical tools to help you lead with vision, live with intentionality, and build a flourishing family that multiplies in impact. Let's get to work. The Dynasty starts now.
There's a question every family must eventually answer. Will we simply share wealth, or will we share work? Because these are not the same thing. A family that only shares wealth drifts. But a family that shares work builds trust, builds identity, builds something that lasts beyond a single generation. In today's world, it's easy to aim for comfort, passive income, financial independence. But what if financial freedom was never meant to lead to inactivity? What if it was meant to fuel purpose? And that purpose was meant to fuel even more meaningful work. Scripture tells us in Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. Work is not a burden to escape. Work is worship. And for families, work is one of the primary ways we stay connected, sharpen one another, and live out a shared calling. In this episode, we're going to explore what it looks like to move beyond simply managing money and instead become a family that builds, serves, and works together on purpose. Because legacy may fade, but a family that builds together, that's a dynasty. Here's the conversation with 2 of my daughters, Elena and Ellie.
Okay, girls, so great to be back with you, Ellie and Elena, for another discussion on the Family Dynasty podcast.
Yes.
Today we want to talk about working together. One of our emphases here at Family Dynasty as we talk to family is, listen, if you can't envision or do anything beyond philanthropy together, by all means, do philanthropy and make it as meaningful as possible. Mm-hmm. But even if your family has moved beyond the necessity of working together, kind of the way I grew up in my family on the family farm, every hand on deck, we needed to work as a way of survival. And as I look back on that, it was hard, but it was really good. Mm-hmm. And we want to call families and challenge them to active business together or active ministry. Mm-hmm. And we want to unpack that today and talk about why. Why, if life can be easier and the shared purpose of a family can be exercised with generous giving, why do we say that's not enough? We don't dogmatically say it's not enough. We're not here to play the mind of God, but we do think there's an angle for families to consider re-engaging in family business, or in the midst of the pain that they may be experiencing, as family business can be challenging, to celebrate the goodness that is also happening within that.
Yep.
Why do you think families can lose connection once the financial pressure is gone?
So financial pressure, as in like what you were saying, we no longer are working for survival.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about the farming family who, if we don't get up and milk the cows tonight and we don't do it again together in the morning, bad things will happen.
I think that in a situation like that, you're all pulling towards a very important mission together, mm-hmm. and that important mission is surviving, essentially,
Yeah.
And taking care of each other and the family as a whole. So it's very easy to pull together for a mission like that because mm-hmm. everyone values the basics of getting your needs met. Mm-hmm. So I think it's easy to come together around that shared mission.
Yeah. And I think just thinking about that, when it is survival, you're usually not thinking too much about purpose beyond food on the table, getting enough sleep tonight, making sure there's clothes on the kids so that we can survive another day. And so what if you've come through that stage and now you could go back to engage in some meaningful business, not where you have to think day after day, I just need to survive, but you can now say, how do we really work toward a higher purpose together?
That's what I was thinking. It gives purpose to the family.
Yeah.
It gives them something to continually work towards instead of just being passive. And
Yes. Yeah. Kind of our anchor verse today is Colossians 3:23. So whatever you do in word or deed, do it all to the glory of God. Or the King James Version would say, do it heartily. Right? To work heartily, to do it with all our strength. The verse I want to come back to over and over in my life is God's greatest commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And for me, if I don't go back to that verse regularly, I can get into good enough is good enough. And thank God for grace in Christ that that covers the gap for us when we consistently do not love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. But this is our aim, and this is where God knows we are flourishing best, when we love Him in word and deed in everything we do. And I just think that He's put us in family for a reason, and one of the reasons is the goodness of working together. Right?
Yes.
That He's given us the mandate of work.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because like we were created in His image. He is a creator. We are creators.
That's right.
So that work is us creating.
Yes.
So we're never to give that up.
Absolutely. That's really good. So in your view, what does it mean for a family to work heartily for the Lord, even when they don't need to work?
I think that means everyone's given gifts by God that we need to steward and we need to use.
Yeah.
So I think we have the responsibility to use that as an act of worship. So it comes from our heart and it's very purpose driven, even if we don't have the immediate financial need for that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I've heard it said work is worship.
Yeah.
So everything we do it all for the glory of God.
That's great. So when you don't need to work, we encourage you work anyway. Here's the core idea. Passive income should empower active purpose. Families were made to exercise authority, rule, and governance in the world, and to serve. Families, like individuals, are not made for idleness.
And in that idleness, life is like a river, If you're just idling, you're just getting swept down river. Or instead of working, it's keeping you moving forward towards whatever your goal or purpose in life is. So keeping work active in your life will keep you from idling and just being washed downstream.
That's
whatever
right.
your goal or mission as a family is.
Yeah. Where does it fall for a family to enjoy work together and rest together? How does that interplay?
I think our family's pretty good at that. Grandma has done it for years, and now you guys do Sunday afternoon dinner. So it's a time for family to connect outside of work, rest. We do family vacations. It's a time of fun, relaxation, rest, and you can connect in a different way than necessarily working together.
Right.
And it kind of refreshes you to go back to work together.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I feel that relationally, to have that strong cohesion, you almost need both. You need to have that working together towards a purpose, but then you also have the relaxation together, and those bonds are formed differently in each of those two different scenarios. But I feel with both of those things together, that really creates a lot of strength and cohesion.
That's great.
Yep.
That's really good. In my private devotions this week, I was reading from Hebrews chapter 4, and they taught in there, the author of Hebrews is talking about entering God's rest. And those who refuse to enter God's rest won't see His kingdom. It's just, from a family that believes in work, right? We have understood God's mandate to fill the earth and form it, to take dominion and work and steward it. And it involves a lot of work. But a family can't work for a reward so much as what Hebrews tells us is work from the reward. What we could never earn, we've been given by Christ. We've been given by his grace entrance into a kingdom. It is entering that rest, right? I think for many years I got it. We talked about the family mantra, pay now, play later. And so much of my theology was I work 6 days a week to get my 7th day of rest. And it was only a few years ago that I realized, wait a minute, the first day that Adam and Eve enjoyed on earth was the Sabbath. God gave the primary gift to them as day one of the rest. And that's a foreshadowing for what Christ has done for us. In Christ, we don't work for his acceptance and his grace, his mercy in our lives. He gives it to us. It's a free gift. And from that rest, now we say, okay, God, what is it you want me to do? What is this purpose you have for my family and I? Now we get at it in a way that is from rest.
Yeah. Instead of Sunday being a reward for your work, it's the first day of the week to prepare you for your work.
There you go.
Trusting.
That's a great way to think of it.
I love thinking of it as like it's the first fruits. So you're trusting that time that you're given at the beginning of the week, trusting that you can give that to God and he will help you complete what's later in the week.
Yes. Excellent. Really good.
I'm having a thought that kind of goes with this. I feel like one reason families may easily forget to intentionally have a mission after they're moving past the survival phase is I feel like it takes a lot more intentionality, because when you're in making money to survive phase, the mission is kind of a given. Everyone kind of understands it without it having to be spoken. And then when you move past that, you have to be really intentional to have that mission and purpose for your family, because you have to build something beyond just, okay, we're working to survive.
Right.
So you have to really like come together as a family and be intentional about vocalizing what that purpose and mission is going to be.
For sure. Yeah. And I think of the amusing ourselves to death, right? As your basic needs are met, we start to look for entertainment. And we have the means to now procure different pleasures that we couldn't time and resources to enjoy those pleasures. Makes me think of I forget who said it, but it's, kind of the world we live in is like 50,000 people in a stadium at night with the lights on, watching the game while the celestial sky is so beautiful. Like the stars are magnificent. No one bothers to stop and look up because they're just focused on their entertainment.
Right.
And really resonating with what you're saying, Ellie, is we're calling families to just pause. Look up, behold the celestial beauty of God, and that he has given your family a calling and a mandate. Take time to discover it. Take time to ponder.
Yes.
Take time to wonder. Take time to discuss. And then move out into that rather than, we have to go against the flow, right? The flow is more entertainment, more luxury, more enjoyment, when the calling of a family is impact.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, the flow is work, just so you can then rest.
Right. Yeah.
Early retirement or whatever. Passive income. And that's a lot of people's goal if they don't have this broader vision.
Right. Go to college, get a good education so I can get a good job, so I can make lots of money, so I can retire as early as possible and enjoy the rest of my life.
Yep.
Right. We want to reframe that.
Exactly. And I feel like this is so important because we've talked in other podcasts about making sure that your dynasty can be sustainable for generations and generations. And I feel that this is the key, because if you don't have that mission and you're just focused on entertainment, luxury, leisure, the money will be squandered down the line. You're not teaching the future generations the importance of still working for what you have and still working for that purpose. So I feel like this is so important for that longevity and sustainability.
And another thing with the early retirement, that if that older generation clocks out, checks out, goes to retire in Florida and play golf, that younger generation isn't able to glean the knowledge from the older generation. Like grandma and grandpa are retired, yet they're always there working with us.
That's right.
And we are still learning so much from them every
Your
day.
grandma and grandpa are working harder
Then
than your generation is. I'm telling you, they're in everything we do. They are front and center.
Yeah.
They're an example to all of us. So I have something in mind here. If nothing jumps to mind, I'll give my example. But I wonder if, when thinking about the comment you just made, it made me think of a specific example of a dynastic. Think of, in the world of dynastic families, can you think of a certain business that comes to mind in general, or a way of life that tends to lead to generational continuity? Okay, so
Yeah, I'd
go
like
ahead.
to hear yours.
You want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Winemakers,
Interesting.
right? When you think of, you look at a great bottle of wine, it'll say family so-and-so, right? The vintner since 18, whatever. That they have this purpose that they cultivate around the winemaking. Right? Or just the purpose can be just creating, a very specific blend at the highest quality possible, but it's tied to land, it's tied to a product, and it's tied to a specific idea of what that product brings to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's, wine is better with time. So there's like a longevity there. They're not just like, what can I make immediately today?
Yeah.
It's like investing.
This
in
is
the future.
true, right? Because the longer that wine sits around, the more valuable it is. Yeah, that's really. And Sean Morris, right, is from a winemaking family in South Africa, are his roots. For, I think, 200 years, his family was a winemaking family. So what if it's not in business? If a family's wealth has freed them from the need to work, how can they maybe leverage that freedom for ministry? I think, because this is what we went through as a process, and we want to unpack this a little bit today, kind of what we went through, and maybe use this as a template other people can use or work off from to explore these concepts within their family. But the one thing we asked is, okay, as we have our family mandate, our family history is a family of entrepreneurism, a family of stewarding for other people, and a family deeply embedded in ministry. And so as we are discerning, what is our collective effort going to be primarily going forward? Is it going to be focused on business or ministry? We recognize that to be a dynastic family, you do not have to have a business.
Right.
It could really be entirely in the ministry realm. Talk about that a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, as an example, in our family, I feel that there is even now a lot of that influence, like you and Grandpa, your dad, both like shepherd in ways at a church. And I do feel like if you are going to focus on ministry, you can still have that intentional mission and purpose. And that's really what's going to draw you together as a family. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're making more money, because the call is to use and steward the gifts that God has given you and your family.
Right.
And if that's more in ministry, then there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is resonating with someone who's listening who maybe is in that phase that they no longer have to work. Their family no longer has to engage in business. And so maybe they would wrestle with the idea of, what could we exponentially create if we go back into some business together? Or maybe, how can we exponentially together have a shared purpose to impact the world through a ministry that we have not yet even envisioned, that might come and be birthed through family conversations?
Yeah.
And you think about our mandate, our as an example, our family mandate is we exist to steward and protect that which is entrusted to us, be it people's resources or lands, being intentionally missional and kingdom purpose, all in a spirit of humility to the glory of God. So when you think of that very well works in a ministry context. It doesn't tell us we have to be an entrepreneurial family.
Right.
Right? Because when you're thinking about stewarding and protecting those who are entrusted to us, that could be the flock you shepherd.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think it's also maybe instructive as the family is forming their family mandate statement. make it specific enough that it has a very specific calling and speaks to who your family is, but keep it broad enough that it does not have to be only ministry or only business. That as the generations unfold, whether a family is primarily in business or ministry, they'll be able to resonate with the purpose that the family has.
Yeah, and in your business, how can you incorporate ministry? How can you serve those you are helping? Whatever it may be. Like, I mean, we've got some real estate investments with tenants. How can those tenants be included in our ministry?
That's right.
How can we serve them?
For sure. Oh, and I am such a big believer that the marketplace, I think some of the best pastors are business owners because they have an audience 40 hours a week or more that they can minister to and minister in very tangible ways to people over a long period of time.
So now that we have talked about wanting to have an identity, a purpose that goes into a business or a ministry, how can a family find out what they want to get into, what kind of business or ministry they want to move forward with?
Yeah. Just thinking about our experience, we just started it with conversations. And we didn't go into it thinking, we're going to have one meeting, have one conversation, and we're going to come out of that meeting and know. We set up a rhythm of regular meetings. We're going to meet once a month, and we're going to discuss these things. Yeah. And this might be the focus of 1 month, and then might go a couple months without coming back to it. But it was over the course of, I would say, a year, really, that we were, in some meetings, were more intentional, very focused on this concept.
Right.
And others, this topic was tangential.
Now, before we came up with the business ideas, in my memory, I think we came up with the values and mission of our family as a whole, right?
For sure.
And that seems like something you'd want to have first.
That was about 2 years before we even began to talk about, do we want to be more intentionally aligned with business or ministry?
Yeah, so I think having that foundation to work on to build your business was important for us.
Yeah. Well, it was honestly out of defining our family values and mission and recognizing that we had been an entrepreneurial family through the years, that we came alive to that possibility collectively.
Yeah. And we kind of were like, oh, well, then what can we do now? What can we make from this history that we have of doing things like this?
That's right.
This history and all of our current gifts.
Yeah.
Like everyone still had that. It wasn't just in our history, but it was in our family currently.
So I think that's part of it. As you start having the conversations with family, take inventory. Take inventory of what you know of your family's history, what stories repeated themselves, and take inventory of everyone at the table. What are your gifts? What are your callings? What sphere of the world do you work in? Right? Do we have a family that's primarily working in government? Well, maybe it's not entrepreneurial so much as our place is in civic government. Or if through history you've been landowners and a few of the people are dabbling in real estate, well, that might be a direction for you. Just taking inventory of what are the strengths and interests and expertise of the current family members, and see what themes there are that come together.
Yeah, there's a question on here about, your kids' perspective on the family purpose. And we included, 13 and up in our conversations. And it was insightful to hear some of their ideas because, they see things from their own perspective. They could, they had some good ideas to bring to the family table, not just, even though they're not old enough to have a job, they definitely had stuff to contribute.
Right. And I think it's important that this process isn't driven. I mean, it should be coordinated and championed by a family leader or a set of family leaders. But it should not, for it to be sticky and to really go deep in the family and to have a shared resonance with the family, it shouldn't be a couple in their dining room making all the decisions for the family and then gathering the family and saying, this is who we are, this is what we're going to do. What are some of the pitfalls there?
Well, you could miss insight that others have. ideas,
For sure.
inspiration.
Yes.
Yeah, because you want to kind of get the brainstorm from everyone. And the leaders may think in a completely different way than some of the younger people might.
And if you want a shared vision and the leaders are coming and just telling the younger generation what's going to happen, you might get quiet, polite approval, but as soon as the meeting's over, you get the eye rolls, you get the, I can't believe, like, they're out of touch.
Yeah.
That can very much
If
happen.
you include them in it, they are more excited about it too. They're like, I
makes
helped
their own-
create this idea. I
Yes.
gave in my opinion.
That's right.
I was heard. I was included.
Yeah. Our process was so much more exciting than I was excited going into it, and I was the one who had kind of crafted the exercises over specifically 2 meetings. I think we had come to the point where, like, I think there'd been conversation. I think we want to go into business, and there was different ideas thrown around. But there was a 2-step process. What was it that we went through?
So I might be wrong on this, but in my memory, the first step was everyone writing down ideas for business ideas. And this was built on what we had already done. What strengths do we have in this family? What are the themes we see?
Yes.
And I know a lot of the themes we saw was a lot of people in the family were teachers. Like, that was a gift that a lot of people have. And stewarding land, farming, that was a strength and something in our history. There was a couple other things, but with all of those ideas in mind, everyone individually,
That's right.
I think.
That's what we did.
Wrote
We were all
down
together.
ideas.
At that time, there was, I think, 24, 25 of us at the family table.
We might have even broken into groups.
No, that was the second one.
Oh, that was second.
The first one was
remember-
all together.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I remember breaking into groups, and then those groups kind of formulated whatever idea. Like, I think we voted on our top few ideas, and it broke it into like 2 or 3 different groups, and then those groups formulated a business plan around.
Yes. So our first meeting, everyone wrote down like 5 ideas. We
Yes.
collated them. I can't remember if we came back and reported in the next meeting, but we had some summary like, hey, here's all the ideas. Here is the common themes we see coming up. And we discussed some of those things. And people gave caveats to it. We could do this, we could do that. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting brainstorm session.
Yeah, I think, for example, a couple people might have had an idea of like teaching workshops or educational Christian school. And then as a whole group, we kind of consolidated all of the education teaching ideas into one like conglomerate idea. Like, okay, so here's an idea that would be like a teaching camp where we do workshops every summer. So as a group, we kind of took a bunch of the ideas that were similar and meshed them into like one large idea.
Right. Yeah.
Or I guess I should say like 5 large ideas.
Yeah.
If that makes
And then we planned the next meeting when we came together. We took generation 1 and 2, which is grandma and grandpa, and then my 2 siblings, myself, and our spouses. We met in one room, and then your generation. So there was 8 of us, and then about 20 of you in the other room. And we said, independent of one another, based on what we have been praying about and discerning and talked about in our last meeting, what does generation 1 feel like we should be? Let's come up with 3 ideas and prioritize them. What do you think is 1? What's a 2? What's a 3? And then you guys were doing the same thing in the other room. And then after half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it was, of discussions in each room, we came back together to say, okay, is there any commonality, or are you guys thinking completely different than we're thinking? What do you remember about that night?
I feel like it was pretty much in line.
For us, and this is not the way it's going to happen for every family.
Right.
It could happen that from all the brainstorming you've done up until that point, younger generation has a completely different idea
Right.
than Gen 1, 2. For us, it was synonymous. With all the different ideas, we came out of that saying, real estate development is our future.
Yeah.
Everyone from your generation right on up through saw, this is what we're already doing. We want to do it to another level.
Yeah. And I feel the way that happened, that we were all on the same page, in a sense, it helped with all the buildup we had, understanding the strengths that we had in the family, understanding the history of our family. And I feel that understanding helped us all kind of easily jump to the same conclusion, in a sense, or at least a similar conclusion.
And we came out of it saying, we're not going to rule out some of these other ideas, but as a core engine going forward, let's focus on real estate development. And what's really neat is, I think it was another year to year and a half before your Uncle Nate said, you know what, I want to start a construction company, right? And now 3 others of your generation are working with Uncle Nate in the family construction business.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that just came out of the sense that he felt secure with the family's backing to launch out, even though he's about 50 years old and had never really been an entrepreneur. He understood the family's purpose. He understands how this fits in really well with real estate development.
Yeah.
And we can have an active business that is rubbing shoulders and mentoring the younger generation.
Yeah.
So to say, I guess the point I want to make that families catch is, you don't need to have this meeting. And let's say at a meeting, you come out with a definitive decision. We want to go into ministry. Okay, what does that look like? It might take 2, 3, 5 years for it to show up. If you keep coming back to that revelation, we made this decision. Let's pray about it. Let's think about it some more. How's it going to show up? You don't want to force it. Right?
Right.
When we made that decision, nobody saw or thought Nate was going to leave his steady job that he'd had for years to be a builder. I didn't see that coming, but it was the culture we were developing, the way of doing life and thinking that brought that to life and brought that about.
And I'm remembering in those early meetings, we even said, like, we're gonna need somebody to start with this full time eventually. And I don't think we had that for a long time.
No.
So it really did just start as an idea, and us perfecting the idea, and that, like you said, opened the door for family members to be available and open to stepping into those roles.
Yes. And if we think generationally, we don't have to be in a hurry. We don't have to feel like, hey, we decided we're going to go into real estate development. What piece of property are we going to buy next week?
Right.
Right? We just have developed this. I think it also makes the conversations more intentional. I think of Ty, who is your brother Max's age. Max and Ty are 10, going on 11. And when I can, I speak into his life. Ty, I don't know exactly, I'm not playing God in your life. You have to discern this, what your calling is. But my goodness, I think you would make a great excavator. And excavating is a skill the family really needs.
Yeah.
Right? So be looking for the way God is forming these young people and speaking into their life and making the bridge and connection to how your skill could really serve the family.
Right.
To this,
And just as a caveat, definitely not trying to just like fit them into a spot that you need,
Yes.
but genuinely seeing and noticing where their strengths are.
Their
yes.
strengths, their
And-
passions. Yeah.
Right.
Because he's got a passion for that kind of stuff.
Right, yeah. You're not just like trying to
Well,
fit
trust me.
someone into an opening.
If I was doing that, we'd have about 5 accountants right now. And I look across the family and I keep praying and saying, God, we need someone to go into finance. We need someone to go into accounting. And right now I don't see it.
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah,
to your point,
we're
we
not
look at
necessarily numbers smart. We're other smarts.
yeah.
I think for
Well,
them.
and this is I'm still holding out hope that Max might be the guy.
Could be. Could be.
Max is he's got different directions he could go.
Yeah, I see him as like a host of some kind. He's very.
Max,
He's good with math.
we're putting this will be recorded. We can come back and maybe dig this out of the archives
See what he.
15 years from now.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the boy should become a composer.
He is
Honest to
gifted with
goodness, he needs to go into music, and I think he should try his hand at composing. That's where I think his sweet spot could be. But he can do that in numbers too.
Yeah, he's got a lot of gifts.
No, but I love your point. Is we need to look at the bent of each rising person and speak authentically.
Yes.
And I see you. I see you are good at this. And if there's no bridge to the family business, fine. Set them free to go pursue whatever it is they'll pursue with the family mandate.
Right.
You're still part of this family. You don't have to work in the family business to be a meaningful part of this family. But if there's a crossover and connection, we want to encourage that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And back to what Ellie was saying about one of the examples of a business idea of like teaching classes and kind of, I think agritourism was included in that somewhat, where we teach classes on different agriculture things and some sort of camp. The real estate business could potentially launch that as a mission someday. Like we have the farm that's called the Little Farm.
Yeah.
That isn't done yet. It's a real estate investment that the family's working on. And we've had brainstorms about what we could potentially develop that farm into that included that business idea. And I think we didn't see, it was an idea that a lot of people got excited about, but wasn't necessarily being seen as like, oh, this is going to be a great moneymaker for the family.
Right.
It was more of a fun mission, going out and reaching people, serving them.
Right.
So it could be something down the road that we still incorporate into the business.
Right. So
Seasonally or something.
Other ideas that a family might come up with, you never know how those could play out in the future.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk about this idea again of why active family business. Why do you think, or do you think that discipleship is different in an active family business than it is managing investments? In what ways is it different?
There's a lot more hands-on working together when you're working in a family business.
Yeah. Or how is it different than the traditions of being with family for birthdays and holidays, celebrations,
I think,
which are all very important?
Yeah, I think there's something about actually doing life together. You're not just leading by words, you're leading by example in your work and everyday life. And I think that's really important, because if you're discipling someone in your family, but like you said, you're just doing investments or you just see them once in a while, I feel that that's a lot of talk and it's not as much living with them, action, them being able to see you in action. And I just feel like there's a lot more that can happen in a situation like that.
There's more depth.
There is. You must learn to develop conflict resolution skills, or the family will fall apart.
Yeah.
You're going to be iron sharpening iron. You're going to see the weaknesses, the proclivities, the good things, the bad things, and we have a chance to sharpen one another in family and to be sharpened more with active business. Our character development matters. And if Max, the days that I take Max out and say, Max, we're going to go today and we're going to be doing farm work together. The days he is by my side, his character is being formed in a different way than the days he's beside his mother. Which is good. I'm not saying it's bad that he's by his mother, or we'd change
There's
that.
time for both.
There is. And it's the active work that we're doing together is playing a different kind of role in forming character. Yeah. You have a thought there, Ellie? It looks like you're disagreeing or something.
No. I think maybe the wording of that, like if he's doing work with his mother, then it might be a similar type thing. I think you're saying just like doing school with his mother.
No, I'm saying his mother being busy in the kitchen while he's playing with Legos.
Right. But if, like, yes, I see what you're saying. I just, if he's out doing wood, stacking wood with his mother, then his character's being developed differently than if he was sitting in the kitchen with his mother.
I don't mean
that's the difference.
Yes, I don't mean to say it's only a father influencing his son. It's just but it's the working together.
Right.
It's the working together. If mom says, Max, we're going to cook this meal together.
Yeah.
Right? That's just as much the character formation as it is if I say, hey, let's go out and brush hog this field together.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I've got to say, I might say this every time, but just you girls showing up and doing this podcast with me, we're working together. Mm-hmm. And we're relating on a different level than we do when it's Sunday meals. It's good. Mm-hmm. This is good. Not that we're necessarily sharpening one another, but we're bouncing around concepts that we want other families to bounce around. We're getting to bounce these concepts around for our own family.
Yeah.
In front of others who are tuning in. But this is good work that we are doing here. And I get to relate with you girls on a different level. And because of your willingness to sit with your father, you're seeing more of your father's heart, you're seeing more of your father's intentionality, and you're sharing in it. And it's a great blessing to me. It's a great honor to me. But we also hope that it is helpful and impacting for other people too.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts before we wrap up, girls?
Not from me.
Okay.
The only thought that I had that I didn't say was, I think that it's easy for us to think of work as something that we just have to do to make money, etc. But I think about when God created Adam in the garden, before the fall, he gave him a mission and a mandate, which was to fill the earth and subdue it. And he had Eve as his helper in that mission. And I feel that that is a picture of what God wants us to do. Adam didn't have to work to survive. I'm sure he had everything he needed in the garden, but he was called and had a mission to work, and he and his wife had that mission together.
Yes.
And I think that's such a beautiful picture of how God has called all families.
That's right.
As well.
Fantastic. Yeah. Beyond survival, to understand, discern what your calling and mission is, and then live into it as a family. That's really good, Ellie. So in wrapping this up, encouraging takeaway is don't just manage money, mobilize mission. Find something your family can build or bless together. And our closing verse today is Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established.
Yes.
Amen.
Until next time, God bless.
Good.
Thanks for joining us on the Family Dynasty podcast, where legacy is built, not just inherited. If today's episode helped you lead your family with greater vision or purpose, share it with someone else who's building a legacy that lasts. And remember, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant. Deuteronomy 8:18. Keep building with faith, leading with love, and living for impact. Your family is your greatest calling.